Art, an aesthetically pleasing and meaningful arrangement of elements.
Not!
Hey, Dee Snider here for this week's edition of Art Extremes. It's your first-hand look into the creative minds of artists who push the limits and excite the senses. On this episode of Art Extremes, we'll meet two extreme artists who are masters of transforming everyday ordinary and extraordinary materials into art.
On this week's episode, you'll meet two extreme artists, Felix Semper and Robert Mojo.
But before we hit the road to see where our artists get their inspiration, let's kick off this venture by signing the ride. It's time to head out to the highway to see where our first artist gets his inspiration from. So what am I doing in the middle of all this paper? Yes! Well, we're here to show you how creativity can bring this stuff to life. While I work on my own creations here, let's meet our first mind-bending extreme artist, Felix Semper.
Our first extreme artist, Felix Semper, is a self-taught artist. His art reflects his culture and his experiences as he has traveled and lived internationally.
So my first question is always, what do you think defines extreme art?
I think extreme art is just taking something that is conceived as a norm, and you take it to the edge and you just roll it over the edge and make it something ecstatic, something crazy that no one's seen before.
Semper is known for his mind-bending, stretchable paper sculptures.
You work with stretchable paper.
Yes.
What is stretchable paper?
You know, it's paper that I've glued together in a certain way, in a certain format. When you pull it apart, it opens up like an accordion.
Secret formula?
Yeah, it's kind of like a secret formula. But I have a certain way of gluing the paper, or it comes together in a certain way. And then, you know, as you pull it apart, it comes back together again to the same spot.
Now, have you always been into art?
I've always been an artist. I haven't always been an artist per se, but I've always been an artist at heart.
With any kind of art, they have a starting point. Something with any particular piece, whether it's a song, or my wife says when she's decorating a room, she may start with a pillow she found that she says, and she builds everything off of that pillow. What is that thing that triggers a new piece for you?
Yeah, like I was eating some potato chips, you know, a few months ago, and you know, with my wife, you know, we're trying to get on a diet and stuff. I said, man, I'm gonna make a bag, you know, fat-free, you know, made out of paper, you know. So we stopped eating these chips, you know, but it was a Lay's potato chips. And, you know, it was, everybody just went nuts when they saw it because it was so extreme, you know.
If you can't eat them, you always have the paper version of it that you can look at. That's
right.
good. Yeah. Have you inspired other artists?
I've inspired a lot of people from all over the world.
And how do you feel about that?
I feel amazing, but, you know, they can't really copy it because it's so hard to do, you know. People want the formula, how to glue it. I said, you know, I just got to figure it out. I'm not here to teach. Wow. I'm here to create.
All right.
I'm here to create.
So great, imitate away, but I'm not giving you the secret sauce.
Yeah, no, you know, that's not my role. I don't think that's my role in life. My role is to create, is to make things.
A couple of your things, are your projects all big, or there's some smaller ones, or they vary in size?
Yeah, they vary in size. You know, I go from cheeseburgers to large busts that weigh, you know, 80 pounds to large, you know, like tree-like sculpture that weighs hundreds of pounds. And I kind of mix a lot of materials. I'll mix like styrofoam, I'll mix metal, wood with my paper. So, you know, when you look at it, you have no idea what you're looking at. You think it's a real deal, and then when I open it, that's when your mind just explodes because it doesn't understand.
Do you remember making your first piece, or that first piece that you displayed, showed people, and you got that positive feedback that said, yeah, this works?
Yeah, it was actually, I can't forget, it was the first time I did one. I said, you know, I've got to show it to the world. So I came to Washington Square Park and I brought one of my sculptures and I just kind of laid it there, and people were walking by. And
You went into Washington Square
Park going to my
That's
sculptures.
bold, man. That's
yeah, man. So
bold.
I just put it there in the bench, and then I just started, people started looking at me and said, that's a cool sculpture. When I started moving it, just the crowd started gathering around and taking photographs and filming me. I said, man, this is it.
This is it.
Yeah,
You got
this
something
is
for
it.
sure. All right, before we go check out the table and see some of your work, I would like to answer a random question from an Art Extreme viewer.
Would love to.
Awesome. Felix, random question from a viewer. Are you ready, sir?
Yes.
This question's from Donna Jean. Felix, we've been watching you literally grow over the years, and I'm a huge fan. We heard you're going to be on Art Extremes and wanted to ask what inspires you to create something new?
I think just my experience on a daily basis, the things that are surround me and my experiences are, what inspires me to create something new. I have a Nike sneaker, Air Jordan, that I love, and I love the fashion on sneakers. So I said, I'm going to create a sneaker. So, I was inspired to do that because I have it and I wanted to create it.
Well, thanks for being on the show. I think it's time to go over to the table and check out some of your work. Hey, stick around. We got way more to come. Felix, this is awesome. So what do we have here?
Like, for example, this is Jean-Michel Basquiat, and he goes up.
Damn, I was not ready for that. That is
And the whole thing opens up.
That is Art Extreme right there. A never-ending bag of potato chips. That is seriously cool. Oh, definitely want a cupcake.
Yeah, you want a cupcake? That's a fat-free cupcake.
I see a theme here.
Yeah.
Food.
Yeah, food. Like I said, these are things that are on, I am exposed on a daily basis.
I said it before when you were talking about it. I said this is Warholian in a way, where you see day-to-day items and recognize the art in them or the significance in them at least.
But I have modern day Birkin bag.
You talked about working with paper and seeing what you could do by stacking the paper. By making day-to-day items, is there any kind of statement here, or is it just a challenge?
The statement is that in a real inexpensive material, I can create a real exclusive handbag. And so, it gives you the diversity of from one extreme to the other, of fine leather to paper.
Amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
I gotta know who's
Biggie.
this
There's
dude?
Biggie. Biggie is Biggie the rapper.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Whoa.
And he goes all the way down.
What's in Biggie's mind?
Yeah, man. This is,
Oh man.
And
this is like
gravity will bring it down. You'll see that gravity.
this is the ultimate slinky.
Yeah, it is.
His stretchable paper sculptures, appearing to be of stone or other materials, are in fact entirely comprised of layers of paper. Felix's stretchable paper sculptures are inspired by everyday items and pop culture.
You gotta feel it to believe it. It's amazing. But before you go, I need you to do one more thing. You gotta sign the ride.
Absolutely.
Did Felix just blow your mind? Fasten your seatbelt as I hit the highway for another artist's playground of inspiring materials. All right, so what brings me to this twisted metal shop? We're here to look through the eyes of an extreme artist, Robert Mojo Chesky, as he walks amongst this sea of steel. Yeah, then later on I'll catch up with Robert and we'll talk about creating art out of this stuff. I love metal! Our second extreme artist this week is Robert Mojo. Robert produces his kinetic sculptures out of industrial materials and found objects. Well, Mojo, welcome to Art Extremes. You got a shark out there in the Hamptons that you wanted to bring here on a semi. All right, so that sounds pretty damn extreme.
Yeah. I wish I could have brought it because it's a big difference on seeing something in a video, a picture, what have you, whereas you can lay your hands on it. Okay, if you can lay your hands on this thing, and you would feel the intensity of it. I see the vision. You know, once I get this vision, I can't shake this thing out of my head. I got to build it. If I don't build it, everybody around me is going to feel it, that I'm not building it.
Where do those visions come from?
I don't know. I have no freaking idea.
Is it something come to you in a dream? Is it, I mean...
Something trips in you, something you built previously, and you want to top it.
But what's the wife's reaction?
She's supportive. One piece in particular, I'm going to tell you a little quick one about was, I come in one night and I said, "Man, look at this thing I got." It was an octopus made out of a acetylene tank. And I peeled this thing open and I'm all happy with myself. It's all ground down fresh. I bring it, I put it on the floor and I says, "Look at this thing. Isn't this great?" You know what she does? She looks at me and she says, "You..." I said, "What do you mean?" She says, "The octopus has 8 legs." I only had 7 legs in this damn thing, so anyway.
Robert is my kind of metal worshiper. And now back at our ArtX studios, you know, obviously you did it for your passion first. You had, like you said, you had these visions. So when you started showing them to the public, how was the reaction initially?
Slow going, you know what I mean? And then all of a sudden I said, screw it, you know. I asked some friends of mine that had, you know, properties along the road. I said, "Do you mind if I put a piece out here, you know?" And they said, "Sure," you know. All of a sudden I'm bringing a crane and dropping 15,000-pound pieces on their property, you know, on the side of the road. They're like, "Yeah, this is cool. This is cool." You know?
If only we could see out our front window. Yeah. When you go out to the East End, I see a lot of your work on people's property. It's become kind of a thing now. I mean, it's kind of cool to have a Mojo art. How do you feel when you live out there, you drive down the road, you see your work being displayed? I mean, it's got to feel pretty damn good.
It feels good that it's still there, you know. And hearing about it from word of mouth, you know, people in conversation. "Oh, go past the red ball," you know.
I mean, they don't even know.
Yeah, that's my ball, you know. People ask me, you know, to do crazy pieces, whatever, and that's what I enjoy. Give me an idea of what you're after. And
Kinetic, full-size D. Snyder Mojo piece. I think I've got a theme for presents for my wife for the next several years. Every episode, I'm going to have the artist make me sculpture of me. I'm kidding. The good news is, honey, I'm not giving you a sculpture of me. The bad news is we're having a shark on the front lawn. So I can't wait to see your work. But before we go over to the table, take a look at this stuff. How about answering a random question from one of our Art Extremes viewers?
Sure, winner.
Let's do it. Mojo, Michelle from New York City wants to know, where does your inspiration for art come from?
I do not draw. I do not have any other way to express what I do, except this is my passion, and if I have a vision, I'm usually 100% on my vision, or I'm not happy. And in this case, I'm happy.
Mojo, we talked about your inspiration. What is going on here? This is like a Slinky gone mad.
That was actually a pipe that was sliced and sliced and sliced and sliced.
Wait a minute, this was a solid piece of pipe?
It was a solid piece of pipe. Yeah,
What
this
is
is actually just a raw, solid piece of aluminum. It kind of gives you the feeling that it's in motion.
You work with different metals. This is aluminum, stainless steel. What kind of material is that?
These are all steel, just polished up, and these come out of what they call a punch press. So they're leftovers in a metal shop when people are punching steady holes out of steel.
This here, I see a chain on it. Why don't you take this side over here? What is the deal here?
It's made as a mechanical piece to confuse you. This is my version of an indoor wind-powered kinetic piece. And you say, well, you got to bring the wind to the inside, right?
Yeah, so where's the wind?
That you got to figure out.
This piece has been calling to me since the minute I got here.
There's a lot going on here. Basically a repurposed piece. It was a lamp.
Oh, no, I could not see until you mentioned it.
Robert feels that these materials represent beauty and familiarity. Carving into an inanimate object such as steel for Robert is cumbersome and unforgiving. But the end result brings it life, movement, and purpose. To Robert, this is art. On this week's episode of Art Extremes, we got to meet Felix Semper. Felix took us through his amazing array of mind-bending, stretchable paper. Felix is a self-taught artist, and his art reflects his culture and his experiences. His amazing art creations are made from glued layers of paper, sliced wood, books, and sometimes recycled materials. He has transformed the media to stretch, twist, elongate, and retract. Felix may be traveling the globe, but you can always find him at felixsemper.com. Hey Felix, thanks for sharing your art with us today. Then we sat down with Robert Mojo Mojeski. Mojo's artwork combines industrial materials with found objects to create his kinetic, abstract, and realist sculptures. Mojo shared his work with us, including his amazing pipe that was sliced into hundreds of pieces to create the ridges of a snake. Robert's work is in private and corporate collections throughout the USA, but you can also find Robert at robertmojo.com. Thanks, Mojo. You know metal is always welcome on our show. It's time to go back to school for some art history. Art by definition. The Oxford Dictionary states that art is the expression or application of human creative skill and imagination, typically in a visual form such as painting or sculpture, producing works to be appreciated primarily for their beauty or emotional power. Extreme by definition. Reaching a high or the highest degree. Very great. Furthest from the center or a given point. Outermost. Either of two abstract things that are as different from each other as possible. On this week's episode, we featured local artwork by extreme artist Bill Meyer. Bill creates functional art with items that are broken, trashed, or that can be upcycled for a better and cooler purpose. Revamp Man is amazed by what people throw out. He has always had an interest in objects that have reached the end of their original purpose. Bill's creative awareness allows him to see their potential to be revamped into something else. Bill is a self-certified revamp artist, and you can find his work at revampman.com or on display at Industry, Huntington, Long Island, New York.
Well, that's all for this week's edition of Art Extremes. Thanks for watching. This has been Dee Snider for Art Extremes, your half-hour art attack that spikes the brain. I'll see you next time.